Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah said, who would be more unjust than the one who tries to create the like of my creatures? Let them create an atom, or let them create a grain, or let them create a barley corn. Bukhari and Muslim.
This hadith, which is authentic, muttafaqun alayh, combined in Bukhari and Muslim, where the Prophet of Allah ﷺ says, قال Allah, and if he says قال Allah, it means hadith Qudsi or Qudusi. And Allah Azza wa Jal is saying, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ, and who is more of zalim, wrongdoer. And here, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ, it shows that the person who is coming after this word is to be in an extreme dhulm. Now, here, this person who is musawwir, and he is creating something like the creation of Allah, is he to be the greatest of all dhulm? Because we do have this word in the Quran, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنْ مَنَعَ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنْ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا. And who is more wrongdoer than the one who had prevented the mosque and the masajid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to call Allah in it? And who is wrongdoer than the person who forges Allah against Allah the Almighty? So the answer here for this is that, for verily, that those who are being mentioned, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ, are having common ground, which is they are dhulm, in the dhulm in terms of equality. So all of those have been mentioned, and equality. And that is a weaker opinion, because we know for a fact the person who is doing shirk, he is more wrongdoer than the one who is muwahhid, but he makes tasweer. So the second meaning, it means that the dhulmiyya here, it is in relation to the act itself. So when we say the act of ibadah, the worst of it is shirk. The act of tasweer is the worst of the one who makes the image that would imitate the image of Allah, imitate the image of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when it comes to the haqq of the masajid, the worst of that, he who had prevented the masajid of Allah to be having the remembrance of Allah established in them. And when it talks about the lie, the one who is having the greatest of all lies is the one who lies against Allah Azza wa Jal. So in terms of each act, there is the ultimate. So the ultimate in terms of tasweer and making images is the one who is imitating the images of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he says, for verily, those who are zalim, who is more wrongdoer than the one who is creating like a creation like mine, and let them create a dharra. Dharra has been translated an atom, and as I said a number of times, the translation of the dharra is to be an atom, is the correct one is to do is a small ants. Because an atom, it means the smallest particle, but the companions, they don't know anything about the atoms and the nuclear weapons and all of that. So it's the smallest particle, and dharra is a singular form of an ant. And because an ant is one of the smallest animals, and remember the Prophet of Allah speaking to companions who are people illiterate, most of them, people who are not ascribed, people who do not know anything except what they have got around them. So when Allah he speaks to them, he speaks to them in the way which is suitable to their environment. أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ. Can't they see how the camels to be created? Now he did not say to them, can't they see how the crocodile has been created? Because they haven't got crocodiles, so they have camels, something that they use day in, day out. Let them create. So let them, those people, create a habba. Habba as well is the barley seed. The grain. Habba is the grain seed. يَخْلُقُ habba. And then لِيَخْلُقُ شَعِيرًا. Sha'ira is the barley seed. So let them create something which is equal to the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. Even the rice which is made as artificial, it does not carry the same thing as the creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. Those artificial rice or whatever, they cannot grow by themselves. So let them create. And now, is that then what Mujahid had said regarding this issue? So let's just go to what Mujahid had said, or Ibn Abbas. Go on. Is it Mujahid? Got Mujahid there?
It's Aisha's beautiful.
Okay. Then, first of all, let me just as well elaborate on this more on this. For verily, some of the scholars, like the greatest of all mufassirin, interpreters of the Quran after Ibn Abbas in the era of the followers, that is his student Ibn Mujahid. Mujahid, he says regarding this that the creation of images, regardless whether it is for animals or human being, or it is even for trees and barley seeds and all of those that they can grow, all of it is to be haram. Because here the Prophet ﷺ, he said, let them create a seed, whether it's a grain seed or whether it is the barley seed. Let them create a seed. So in this hadith, the support goes to Mujahid, and all the scholars, they say that you're not allowed to make or to draw even a seed, something which has got like growing into it, like a tree. You're not allowed to draw that. That is Mujahid, as I said, and other scholars. But the Jumhur, majority of the scholars, they say, for verily, the one which is haram is the one that has the soul. And the only thing that's got the soul is the human being and the animal. So we call it al-hayawan. Hayawan has got the haya. And that's the correct opinion because of the hadith that's going to come later on, inshallah. Right, now let's just go as well elaborate here regarding the taswir, because the taswir is a big issue. Right, if we look at this hadith, we could see that the taswir can be of the following cases. Case number one is something which has got 3 dimensions. It's got a shadow for it. And this is something like it's got like a human being or an animal or whatever it is, a camel. Okay, so if you have made 3-dimension human being or an animal or all of that, then there is a consensus that it is haram to do that. And if this person had done this, even though for the sake of, I'm not doing it to imitate the creation of Allah or to compete with it, we say to the person, even if you did that without the intention, you are under the threat because you are doing something which is haram, and even though you did not intend to compete with the creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is the first case, and this is the same thing as when we talk about the people who imitate the kuffar. So some of them we say, well, I'm not imitating, I'm just dressed up like this. We say the imitation took place even though your intention was not there. So if you dressed up like the disbelievers, you started to have a hairstyle like the disbelievers, even if you did not have that intention in your heart, the imitation had taken place. The same thing with the person who creates a 3-dimensional image. We're not concerned about what he believes. What he has done is right, is wrong. Second case is that the person makes an image by coloring it. So there's an image there on a piece of paper, and he's coloring it, and he's making it an image of whatever, is a human being or an animal, and that is also haram because of the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to enter the house, and he saw like a piece of garment or a piece of blanket that is covering a wardrobe in the wall. Like they used to have their clothes being put into the wall, like they make an opening in the wall and they cover it. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had stopped and he was really affected with what he had seen, and the hatred and the dislike and the disapproval was seen in his face. So Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, Messenger of Allah, what sort of sin I have done? So he said, verily, the owners of these images, the ones who does these images, they're gonna be punished on the day of resurrection. They will be said to them, give life to what you have created. So making images, even which is the ones which got no shadow or no shade, still haram. طيب. Except, of course, as we said, we're going to say that is the trees and the images of cars and all of that. Third case is now the image which is being taken by a camera, which is the one that is mobile phones or whatever it is, like this camera at the moment, whether it is a video, which is moving picture, or whether it's a still picture, which is like a photo. what is the scholar's opinion regarding this? Some of the scholars, like our Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah, he says it is still like making the drawing. It's like making the drawing. So it is haram to have images with the camera of animals or human being, and only the cars and the trees and all of that, that's allowed. And the exception the Shaykh al-Albani he does is that for the purpose of teaching. Purpose of teaching, like for example, if number one, that you are linking the image to another place and you're not recording it, it's no problem. That's called reflection, like looking at a mirror. So if we have, for example, other people in another hall, like let's say the sisters, and they need to see the live link up, okay, to the other place, and now we're talking about even not just the live link up through cameras connected to the masjid, but actually through what applications. They're really advanced now, subhanallah, so much advanced. So the link up like this, they say, Shaykh al-Albani says no problem. But if you record it, and it is talking about his time as well, if you record it, then it's not allowed. Except if it is for the purpose of teaching. And that teaching that needs to have a video, like teaching the people of praying. It's not, for example, explaining a hadith like just like that. No, but something like to do explaining about the Hajj rituals. Shaykh al-Albani said even it would be almost a wajib, compulsory, to teach the people with images regarding the prayer and regarding the Hajj, because those are, we're calling al-ulum al-taswiriyya, science which are to be taught by images. Very good, and they will be more powerful. That's the opinion of Shaykh al-Albani. Other scholars, they said, no, this is not taswir. This is aks, ukus. It's like this is a reflection of you. We are actually not making or competing with the image of Allah. We're not competing with the image of Allah because this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. We're not competing with the creation of Allah, the creation of Allah. We're not really doing anything other than reflecting the person's image. It's like a person looking at the mirror, and we have stopped that image in the image. So we stopped it. We stopped that image. So that image is not competing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creation, but it's actually Allah's creation itself, which we call it aks. And before, a long time ago, they used to call the taking of the photograph ukus. They said ikisni, invert me, ikisni, ukus, not sawarni, ikisni, because they didn't have that word till they came with taswir. طيب, now, is that image as a haram? This scholar, they say it's halal. Is it haram or halal? Now, I always, when somebody asks me regarding the images, the photos, I would say number one, my answer is that you are not a person who is trying to follow the concessions or the let goes of the scholars. Do you understand me? So you're not, whenever it suits my desires, I will go with the ones who says halal. And if it's not doesn't suit my desires, I will go with the one which is haram. But you need to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you choose your opinion. Number two, if it is to do with taking images for no benefit, I would say minimize as much as you can. So there's no benefit in it. Especially if it's that the person who wants to have riyah out of it. So he's taking an image with a scholar. Do you understand me? And then he's putting himself into whatever it is, a profile, that giving a hint to these people that he is a friend of that scholar because he took a picture next to him. And that happens. When you take a picture next to the king, you put it on the mark. Well, the king for the students of knowledge, who is that? Scholar. That's the king for the student of knowledge. It's not the king of the state. That's for them. So he would just, like, for example, with a snap himself and sneak and just have a picture with a look, and then other people say, oh, mashallah, how did you get to that stage and next to that scholar? So that is absolutely cunning and it's not correct, and you're giving a wrong image to yourself. Again, I'm coming back to the saying, is it halal or haram to have the images? As I said, if it's not needed, don't do it. If it is needed, like for example passports and all of that, Ibn Shaykh al-Albani says halal. Criminals showing their images, no problem. But the one you're talking about, like for example, they call it dhikra, surah dhikra. You know what dhikra means? Like, huh? For memory is like the kids when they were young and how they got old. That is the one which I don't answer the question. Because كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعل. It is the most abhorred with Allah Azza wa Jal to say something that you don't do. So each person should really investigate on his own. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, you could sense, rahimahullah, from his sayings that taking the pictures is definitely different from drawing or making a third three-dimensional image. But he says that taking the images with those cameras for the sake of memories, remembering your family, it's haram. Well, if it is a normal, no problem purpose, is no problem. And I could see that the Shaykh rahmatullah alayhi is not settled, and that's why some of the students will extract from that is no problem. Some of them say no, it's a problem. Some of them says halal, some of them says haram. And I could see that when I read a number of what he says, there's some of the fatwa can be seen that they're not really synchronizing with each other. That's absolutely correct. So now these days you've got a mobile. I mean, you tell me who is in that mobile did not need to take a photograph of himself. It's not like before. It's just everything. There is pictures in everywhere. So for example, and that is, you could document it through the camera here. Back in we're talking about 27, 25 years ago, Sheikh Mashhoor came to my house and gave a talk, and it was a class which is repeated every month. We're talking about here 1995 Christian date. So that's means what, 22 years? 23 years. And I had a tripod like this, and I had one of those camcorders long time ago. Big ones, not really the small ones. Not really the huge one which the VHS goes into it. In between. No, not really small, in between. But it was the latest at that time. So very hard to find somebody who had one like this. You have to be, somebody who was like strong. Maybe all his savings gone into the camera. Talking about £1,000 camera, at that time. Yeah, like these days. So I've got video films of Sheikh Ali al-Halabi making the same class. Producer was in alternative. One Sheikh al-Halabi. I've got the Sheikh Ali al-Halabi. He is recorded. Sheikh Mashhoor, and I tried to record Sheikh Ali al-Halabi. He did not accept. And he said to me, if you are linking it to the sisters on the other side, no problem. You want to keep in the video? I said, Sheikh, even I respect you, but I differ with you regarding this issue. I see it's allowed. So he said, don't record me. I said, okay. I recorded Sheikh Mashhoor. So all classes Sheikh Mashhoor were recorded. Now, every single lecture of Sheikh al-Halabi is recorded. Not with one camera, big, huge TV cameras. Okay? See the difference between is it something that has been overwhelming? Overwhelming. Every single class, every single celebration. The last one was in Markaz al-Albani. And it was in the summer. When somebody had the opening of, I don't know what was the occasion, but I came there, subhanAllah, and the Sheikh Ali chose me to pick up to make questions and who's going to answer these questions, and I gave him a gift. And the TV cameras in front of me, big, massive one, like the professional ones, that, subhanAllah. So I was remembering the days when the Sheikh used to say about what? Not allowed. And now, big TV. So, as I said, it's overwhelming. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. For me, I mean, Siraj is recording me now to convey that to YouTube, whatever. Whether it is being recorded or not, I don't know. But I cannot say it is not allowed. Because I know that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, لَيْسَ الْخَبَرْ كَالْمُعَيْنِ. And that's for everything. Seeing the person is not like what? Hearing him. These days, if you want to listen to somebody, very rare you find that you want to listen to him without seeing him. It may be it's Quran. But if it's a lecture, you like to what? To watch. And you'll be more attached if you watch rather than to one. If you're listening without watching. You learn a lot as well by watching, you see and all of that. And you can see expressions. And when I used to, for example, take the Sheikh Albani's, cassette players. There was cassette before. There was no CDs. And I want to take it at what he says. So the questioner and the person, when there is a dialogue, or you could just say an argument by one of those partisan people who against the Salafi. And just recently I was listening to the Sheikh and wallahi, if the person was not there in that place where that thing took place, he will not be able to give you the correct, story and what is happening between that person. Do you understand me? Because there are things that if it's being said, being written like this, or you don't know what is happening. So I've been asked just recently to take out what is in that meeting which happened 27 years ago in the house of my uncle, and he was there. So he wanted me to take that down because I was there, and people laugh, and when what they did laugh about, and with the Sheikh. So for example, I'll give you. One person asked the Sheikh Al-Albani a question regarding a person who is dal, misguided. And that is, one of them is called Muhammad Al-Ghazali. I don't know if you heard about him or not. Muhammad Al-Ghazali. Person who was upon the Sunnah and suddenly he left and he died against the Sunnah. And another person at the same time was asked about him, Al-Qaradawi. Sheikh Al-Albani started to answer this question. He said the first thing, and the Sheikh has a lot of cough-ups. Cough-ups make it's a phlegm comes out sometimes. And when you hear the cassette players of the Sheikh Al-Albani, all these cough-ups will be deleted. The person who is in charge, Abu Layla, he edits them. He goes through them, take them out. But when you hear this one, he said the first thing, it was not taken out. Do you understand me? The first, he said, first thing I say regarding this issue, so the person thinks he's what? Sheikh is swearing at them. But he's not, he's just coughing out. And that was cheeky from who does not edit, he did not edit that one. It's very cheeky. And still, until today, you could listen to it. Very cheeky, because I know Sheikh was not really spitting on these people. It's not allowed. It's not from the manners of the scholars. Coming back, now the tasweer of the human being or the animal, is it allowed to make a human being from, let's say, the head upwards or the body downwards? We said the head and the body is not allowed, yes? But am I allowed to take just the head on itself and draw it? Or the body in itself and draw it? As for the body in itself and drawing it, there's no problem about that. Or for example, the statue, but you don't make the head, you just make the arms and the legs, no problem. for burying, it's no problem. So, for example, those we call manicures, the ones where we put the clothes on. Mannequins. Yeah. The mannequins, those ones. If the mannequins are to be made, number one, without heads, that things that would arouse the a'udhu billah, the lust. We would put them like this with a breast, wal-iyadhu billah. So if it's made just like, you know, a plane, or the head has got no shape in it, just a ball, where they could put the scarf on it to show how the scarf looked like, it's not a problem. Do you understand that? But usually it's the mannequins, all of them what? Proper shape. And what makes me sort of disgusted, when you pass by some of the shops in Islamic countries, in my country for example, one of them says, al-libas al-shari. What is libas shari? Means what? Religious outfits. Women with statue mannequins of women, females, with this coming out, with the whole lipstick and eyes and all of that, and a scarf on top of it. Khifir Allah. What are you playing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What is wallah? Are you playing around? It makes you. Haven't you seen the Quran? Plenty. And you come to them and you're talking to a wall. What are you doing, akhi? People are selling, for example, naked clothes. I understand. I understand you're doing shari'i clothes and you're putting shirk, kufr. You did not do the mannequins, but you are helping of distributing that is the mannequins. And these mannequins are asnam statues. But you're talking to a wall. Understand? And by the way, al-libas al-shar'i becomes a zayy al-shar'i. What is zayy? What is the difference? A zayy al-shar'i, zayy, means like one of those dresses, like we have, for example, short dress, short skirt dress, and this is what? Islamic dress. It's like one of the fashions. You understand me? So when a person wanted to make an advert, and that's real I'm talking about, in Jordanian TV there. So he wanted to make an advert for his shop, which is an Islamic shop. So he said, and I'm talking to the person who's the owner. He said that I wanted to go and tell them to make me an advertisement for my shop. And I said to them, al-libas al-shari, they refused to do that. They wanted what? A zayy al-shari. What is the difference? When you say the Islamic dress, I mean this is the proper dress you should have. Whereas a zayy, it means what? Fashion. What are the fashions? You want to have this, you want to have that one, naked one, not naked one. Do you understand that? The difference? Okay, subhanAllah, they refuse to do that. And that's an Islamic country. Allahu musta'an. I have a problem with drawing the head or making the head with the images. Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah, if you look at that, he says that he has hesitation regarding the head, if it's haram or not, because without the body it will not live. But the Prophet of Allah, could you put your finger on? Yeah, Jazakallah khair. So you find, for example, Prophet of Allah ﷺ, he said, as-suratul ras. The image is the what? The head. فَإِذَا قُطِعَ الرَّأْسُ فَلَا صُورَةٌ. Khalas, knockout hadith. Shaykh al-Albani makes it authentic. If you cut the head, then there is no surah, there's no picture. Khalas, finished. Have you ever seen a person who is, with common sense of course, would say to the person who's taking a photograph, please brother, take a photograph from here downwards. With common sense. Loony, no problem. From here, I want it from here to there. But you've seen lots of people take an image from where? From there. So, that means the person who said, Suratul Ras. Al-Ras, this is the head, this is the image. That one is not the image. Nobody would take from here to there. No way. So what the Prophet ﷺ said to Jibreel, when Jibreel ﷺ, he said to him, if you pass by a statue cut the head and let it be changed into like the tree. Because once you cut the head, then you'll find branches. Leg becomes a branch, feet becomes a branch, the hand becomes a branch, and also the finger becomes a branch. You understand me? Becomes an image of a tree. So let you cut the head and change it. So the Prophet ﷺ was commanded by Jibreel to cut the head. Now what about if the head has got no images? No problem. Do you understand that? So if, for example, you put a bull, but there's nothing. No eyes, no nose, no mouth, now it's just a bull. So what about if I put eyes? And then what about eyes and ears? Because I know that the person will not be alive unless he's got the nose and the mouth. Brother, do not expand on this. Stay with the bull and that's it. No features. So if I want to take a picture of somebody and I'm Sheikh Al-Albani's follower, for example, if I took him from the back, there's no problem. Do you understand that? Because the image of the back is the head. There's no eyes, there's no nose, so no problem. I asked Sheikh Al-Albani regarding that one. So no problem. And a Baba, who is, mashallah, upon the Sunnah, he wanted to make a sign for himself. Enough to say that this is what is in common between them. So the head, the image. As I said, for photographs, it's different between the scholars. For drawing or making an image with 3 dimension, it is not the same, it's not different. Right, now let's go to following hadith. Aisha.
They also report from Aisha radiallahu anha that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the people who will receive the severest punishment on the day of resurrection will be those who try to make the light of Allah's creation.
Right. People will receive the severest punishment. The same thing we said, the severest punishment not is going to be as punishment, for example, as the mushrikeen. There will be the difference in punishment. And the word adab here is being mentioned as punishment, and sometimes it's mentioned as not punishment. For example, Prophet of Allah said, السفر قطعة من العذاب. Journey is a piece of, somebody translated as a punishment. That's incorrect translation. Journey is not a punishment. It's piece of pain. So the adab means what? Pain, harm, agony, not punishment. When you go to a journey, you're not being punished. But so you are in pain, you are in agony, you are in turmoil, you are in discomfort. That's what it means. But it's not a punishment. So the adab here is not a punishment. Naam. Go ahead.
Also reported by them from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, that I heard Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, all the picture makers of hell, a soul will be breathed in every picture prepared by him, and it shall punish him in the hell.
This is also an authentic. All image makers are to be in fire. That means being in fire, they are threatened to be in fire. Because you know for the fact, if the person came with monotheism, regardless of how sinful he is, he's under the will of Allah. Either he would punish him, or he would what? Pardon him. He would punish him or pardon. This is قاعدة الوعد والوعيد, the principle of wa'd, the promise, and the wa'id, which is the threat. The wa'd, Allah will fulfill it. But the wa'id, which is the threat, Allah will not maybe punish it, might not fulfill it. That's from the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jalla. So if he had threatened they're going to put you in the hellfire, he might not fulfill it. But if he promised you're going to put you in paradise, he will put you in paradise the Almighty. So, كل مصور في النار, it means he is under the threat to be in the fire. Now, if he is a person who has made that image to compete with Allah's creation inside himself, and he had made it to be worshipped beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he's definitely in the hellfire eternally. Even if he had created or he drawn or he made even a cup, and he made this cup to be the God, and even that cup hasn't got a soul, but he made it for the sake of people to worship it, he's in hellfire. Do you understand me? It doesn't have to have an image. Right, so we benefit from these hadiths that number one, image is haram. Number two, this will scratch the rububiyyah. They make an image, will scratch the lordship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also we benefit that this are from the punishment, the people who will be punished the severest, and also from the Ibn Abbas that they will be for every person who makes an image, a soul on hellfire. He will be, okay, this is another punishment, a soul in the hellfire. That he will be punished with it. A soul in the hellfire will be punished with it. Right, go ahead.
It is additionally narrated from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu in a marfu' hadith, whoever makes a picture in this world will be charged with putting a soul, life, in it, and he will never be able to do it.
And that's more punishment. You're going to be asked by Allah. Kullif. Allah will make a taklif on you. Go ahead. You made this image of a bird or a human being, put life into it, and you'll not be able. That's on top of your punishment. And also in Muslim. Okay. Also in Muslim.
Muslim reports from Abu Hayyaj al-Asadi that Ali radiallahu anhu said to him, "Should I not depute you on a mission on which I was sent by Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Deface all the pictures which you come across and demolish all the high graves to the level of the earth."
Right. This is wasiyah which we have explained before when we talked about making the graves to be worshipped by putting it a place of worship and by building shrines on it. We talked about this hadith. But again, we have to really explain it because it talks about the image. لا تدع صورة. So, hey, Ali ibn Abi Talib is saying to that person, should I send you, should I command you, should I prompt you with what the Prophet ﷺ told me? And that is, every image you find is that to make thumbs. Thumbs here is to remove it. And it does differ from one picture to another. So if you have an image of a human being which is drawn, all you have to do is what? Either erase the face or put something onto the face. So you could be, for example, with a marker and take it out, no problem. So that will, alhamdulillah, would remove that. And if it is three-dimension one, what are you going to do? Cut it. Say make a tree. So if it's a three-dimension, you cut it. And if you can't cut it, at least deface it. Do you understand me? Deface it with no face. Alright? If it's been engraved, try to engrave it more. Okay? To make there's no nose, no head, no mouth. Okay? That's how you make thumbs to that surah. Then he says, وَلَا قَبْرًا مُشْرِفًا إِلَّا سَوَّيْتَ. And not a single grave which is mushrif. Mushrif is that is being built on it, made like a tomb. If you've gone to some of the countries, like I've gone to some of the countries in Asian countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan, all of these areas, you'll find that they make it as well this ishraf, which is, they put flags on it. Big flags to make them, it's like stick out from all the other graves. They will say, this is Shaheed, this is Shaheed, this is Shaheed, with the big flags, Shaheed and Shaheed. And actually all of them Shaheed, because all of them got flags. So the correct thing is to take that flag and to make it not to make it undistinguishable from the others. So any shraf means is that you make it higher than the others by building on it, or making flags on it, or making these flags colorful with a different color as well to distinguish them. All of that, it should be removed. Allahu Ta'ala A'lam. طيب. Now, from that we could see that the punishment of the person who makes an image, number one, he is from the people who are getting the most severe punishment on the day of resurrection. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, second punishment, will give him a soul to go and sit in, blow into it while he's in hellfire. Go and blow into it. And he will not be able to do so. And also he will be, for every image he made, there will be a soul he will be a soul in the hellfire. As long as the soul is there, his punishment will be as well. So when the souls are finished that he had made, then he will be finishing the punishment. So let's say, for example, there's one person, he had drawn him. If you draw him 10 times during the day, he will be punished with those 10 times images in the hellfire. Also he's in hell because Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said, كل مصور في النار. Each person who takes an image, he is in fire. That means he's been threatened to be in the fire. And the final as well punishment, he is under the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. طيب. We come to that now.
Important issues of the chapter. Number 1, intense condemnation of those who make pictures.
Number 2,
picture making is condemned because it constitutes not having a proper regard for Allah.
Allah's rububiyyah, because Allah's, he said, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنْ ذَهَبَ يَخْلُقُ كَخَلْقِهِ. Yes, he said what?
Allah, as in his statement, who would be more unjust than the one who tries to create the like of my creatures?
Number 3, this is hadith Qudsi, by the way. Now, number 3.
Number 3, declaration of the power and ability of Allah and the incapacity and weakness of those who attempt to create.
Because he said,
as in his statement, let them create an atom or a grain.
I said atom means what?
Ant.
Let them create an ant. Number 4.
Number 4, declaration that they, picture makers, will get the most severe punishment on the Day of Judgment.
And number 5.
Number 5, Allah will create a soul in place of every picture, and the maker of that picture will be punished by it in hell.
And number 6.
Number 6, picture makers will be asked to breathe life into every of their...
By the way, we don't know how that soul will punish him in the hell. It's been said. And he will be also asked to put soul into that image that he made. And number 7.
Number 7, the command to deface all images or pictures when found.
Okay, now we come to the following chapter, please. Start with it. باب ما جاء في كثرة الحلف.
Chapter number 62, the forbiddance of taking oaths frequently. Allah the Most Exalted said, what translates to, and protect your oaths.
Right. باب ما جاء في كثرة الحلف. Halif means to make an oath. And that is to emphasize what you're going to be doing or not doing by saying billahi or wallahi or tallahi. Billahi, wallahi or tallahi. Now the chapter link to the Tawheed, which is book, is that when the person, he makes a lot of oaths in Allah Azza wa Jal, he has no sort of fear and sheer reverence to the Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's name. Because he's making an oath and he's not really caring. When the person makes an oath, he needs to know that he's making an oath and swearing by Allah Azza wa Jal. So when you are upholding and exalting the Almighty, glorifying His name, by not making a lot of oaths, because the oath has to be, for the things which are, which is important. So not every time saying, by Allah, take a sweetie. What's this? By Allah, drink a tea. By Allah, that's not correct. So Allah has to be like, respected in a way. So the person who does a lot of swearing, a lot of making oaths, that means is in his heart not that much of strong absolving or exaltation of the Almighty. Allah says, وَحْفَظُوا أَيْمَانَكُمْ, and preserve, is that what He says? Your oaths. Preserve, is it?
Protect your oaths.
Protect and watch your oaths. The oath has a beginning and has a middle and also has an end. So what does it mean here? Protect your oath. What does it mean? Does it mean protect your oath? That means don't make an oath? Or it means that when you made the oath, fulfill it? Or it means that if you have violated the oath, expiate. Do you understand that? Does it mean don't make an oath? Or if you made an oath, fulfill it? Because it says, observe it, keep it, protect it. Or it means if you have not done it, if you violated it, you have to what? Expiate. And the correct opinion is all of it. It means all of it. So don't make an oath all the time. And if you made it, fulfill it. And if you did not fulfill it for a certain reason, what? Expiate. That's keep meaning, وَاحْفَظُوا أَيْمَانَكُمْ. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, if you have made an oath on something and you have seen something better, then let you, what? Violate that oath, not to fulfill it, and expiate it and do what is better. Do you understand me? So if you made an oath not to talk to that person, and you saw that from the good thing is to talk to him, so talk to him and expiate for your oath. So that is an example of saying that the oath, if you have said it, and if you want to, if you've said it, you've said it only when you need to do it, when you need to say it. And if you said it, you have to fulfill it. And if you did not fulfill it for a certain reason, then you should not. You should straight away make an expiation. Right. Go ahead.
It is narrated from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu that he heard Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, by swearing, the seller may persuade the buyer to purchase the goods, but he will be deprived of Allah's blessing. Bukhari and Muslim.
طيب. First of all, you need to know that the kafara of the yameen, a person who had violated his oath, is what? Feed or clothe 10 people. Now we don't have a slave. To free a slave, we don't have a slave. So it's freeing a slave or feeding 10 people or clothing 10 people. If you can't do that, then you go to the what? Fasting 3 days. So feeding, freeing a slave, we don't have a slave. So it's going to be feeding or clothing 10 people. So when you said feeding 10 people, that means you're giving 10 meals. So you give it to one person. You can give him 10 meals. Or one, do you understand me? It doesn't have to have 10 different people, poor people. And as for if you couldn't do it because of financial situation, then you go to the fasting of the 3 days. The 3 days is better to be together, but no problem is to be separate from each other. It's better to be together. There's no problem to do them separate from each other. Can I do, for example, the 3 days along with, for example, another occasion? Let's say, for example, I'm doing the Muharram, 10th of Ashura, the 10th of Muharram, which is Ashura. Can I do that with as well my 3 days? Yes, no problem. If you're combining your voluntary with the obligatory, there's no problem. But if you're doing obligatory plus obligatory, no. So if you are doing Ramadan and you say with the Ramadan the 3 days of violating the oath, it does not work, because obligatory does not compensate for obligatory. Now this hadith, which is Abi Hurairah, that the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-halifu manfaqatu lis-sil'a. I will explain it inshallah in details in the following week, because it's linked as well to the end of the chapter. And by this, alhamdulillah, I have done what I wanted to do. If you have any question, we have another 10 to 15 minutes inshallah for questions. How many questions? Please go ahead. Fadal.
Sheikh, my questions from last week, what's the limit on, say you're wearing a cloth or like a shirt or t-shirt, what's the limit?
You think I will remember? What did I have?
No, that's not reminding me. Sorry.
Last week. So you asked what about the t-shirts of?
Say you're wearing a
good question. I'm not having a t-shirt, having clothes. These t-shirts of clothes, are they having images of something which is lifeless, which is like a tree, a car, stone? Then we said it's allowed. But if it has, for example, a tree, it's not allowed according to whom? Which scholar? Mujahid. Correct. And we said the scholars, most of them are to allow it. So the tree and the barley seeds and all of those that really grow, there's no problem to have them. Okay? Now that's in general, but remember, when you come to the prayer with these images, you don't want to be a source of this disturbance and distraction to the people praying. I don't want to be looking at your tree when it's drawn at the back and I'm praying behind you. Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had a qiram, like a blanket which had no ruh images which got no ruh, covering in front of him. This is different from the other hadith. Covering, and he was praying to it, and he said, Aisha, akhirihi anni, فإن تصاويره ما زالت تعرض لي في صلاتي. Take it away, Aisha. For verily, the image of it is keeping me away from what? My salah. And this is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not us. Not us. He's the one who has focus on the prayer. This image is taking me away from my prayer. So this person, when he has an image like this at the back of his, okay, it will be disturbing me. So you have to minimize from that. Now to come into the image that you're asking me about, which is an image of a human being or an animal. Living thing. Right. These human things, and you have to know, and this is just like the question because it expands to us. Prophet ﷺ also, he had seen like a sheet, Aisha, it has tasawir, which has got ruh into it. Remember the hadith, that what sin did I do, O Prophet? It had what? Images of live things, like a human being or animal. It was an animal. So what did she do, Aisha, with it? She cut it and she made it what? Pillows. Now, when she cut it and made it pillows, it shows us that it is not good to throw money, because it's money. That sheet is money. So this is as well النهي عن إضاعة المال. Prophet said that I forbid you from three. قيل وقال, that is to say, to chat, he said and all of that. And كذا إضاعة المال, that is to start to squander the money in things which is not allowed, or to start, dumping the money and you're losing it for sake of no reason. So that sheet of hers, she cut it and she made it into pillows, and pillows are to be what? Humiliated. Because you sit on it. Do you understand? You sit on it and it's not to be honored like you put it on the wall. Okay? She made them in pillows. Now, did she make them in pillows where the image is intact, where the head is intact? That's the question. You understand me? Sheikh Al-Bani says no. So she cut it in somehow that the head is gone. It's not showing. Now we come into the question. So if I find, for example, let's say an image. Let's say it is a pop star. By itself is haram anyway, even if it's got a head. Even if it's got a head, because you're promoting haram. But let's say it's got the head. Am I allowed to put him as a panty because I'm humiliating him? Underpants, you know? Do you understand me? Are you okay? طيب. So this person got underwear of a pop singer. I'm humiliating him. No, yeah, it's not allowed. This is it comes from the from the honoring, al-libas. You're not humiliating him. So we're not going to teach our children to buy those things, and even caricatures. These are caricatures. Salahiful ninja. What is it called? Ninjas called ninja? The turtles. Called in Arabic. Salahiful ninja. They are immortals, you know that, which is against our aqidah. Huh? So this to pardon, and we can't run away. You know, the market is very very hard to find something without it. So you stuck for a game for the Barbie, naked in the Western countries and having hijabi Barbie in the Muslim countries. Wallahi, Barbie with hijab. So they're putting her a hijab. That brings us to the toys of the children. Halal haram. The toy is a toy. But the toys is supposed to be that halal 100%, is that what the companion wives of the Prophet of Allah, they said, when the Prophet of Allah commanded for the 10th of Ashura, is that okay?
You just want to show your picture.
Yeah, okay. Show me to my one.
Is this allowed?
To have it like this?
Yeah.
Okay, well, all right. We'll talk about it inshallah. Let me just remind me now. What was I saying? Huh? Toys. So when we come to the toys of the children, the time of the Prophet, the companion women used to يصنعن من العهن. They make it from the wool, from the cloth, and they make it for the children. Why? Because when the Prophet commanded for the 10th of Muharram to be fasted, they used to fast and make their children fast along with them. By giving that toy to them, it will take their mind away from the what? The food. So they'll be fasting as much as they can. But don't do like my grandma. She gave me half a tablet of sleeping pill. She made me sleep, and I thought I was fasting for how many years? I thought I was fasting that day, and I was telling the children I was fasting. I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I was not fasting. I had half a tablet of sleeping pill." Don't do that. And put children to sleep by using this. My grandma, she did it to me. May Allah have mercy upon her. طيب, just hang on a second. I haven't finished the answer. So this toy, if it's made by factories, scholars are different regarding it. If it is made by the factories, but it is halal in itself, it's not like Barbie, which is naked and all of that. Because girls' toys, all of it has got tafasil, ya akhi, details of things which are haram. The back side of hers and the front side of hers and everything. What is this? Shame. And it even arouses the perverts. It doesn't? It does. The pervert, he could be aroused with anything. You give him that, A'udhu Billah, he could be his wife. A'udhu Billah. So how can we do that? Now, the toys, I've seen a toy, for example, a teddy bear. He's about 3 times the size of the child. What type of game, what about toy is that? That's not a toy, this is like a furniture, isn't it? It looks nice in the house. Because it falls on the child and might kill him. Too big. I do have lots of toys for my children. I've got grandchildren, 4, mashallah. Really all over the place. So they've got, for example, fire brigade cars, they've got, all of this boom bonding and plastic and fabric, the stars and all of this. But I don't allow to have these things. I allow, for example, the cloth ones. There's cloth toys made of cloth. Like made, for example, making a tiger, making it no problem to me. Making a horse, all of that. Because Aisha, she made a horse out of those fabrics. Whether these fabrics made by themselves or by the factory people that are making it, or maybe they are made up by robots, but the robots being manufactured by being commanded by whom? By human being. No problem. The perfection of it is no problem. Because Aisha, she said, this is Faras Sulaiman. Remember, Aisha, she was married when she's 9 years old. She's still a kid. So when she made her toys, because every time her little friends comes, like her, she brings the toys and starts playing with them. So one of those toys, Prophet, when he came, he saw it, she hid it. He saw like what is that? Oh, Aisha, she said, it's a horse of Sulaiman. And it had wings. So that's perfection from Aisha, according to not like the factory. So these toys is no problem about that. Other than that, it's not allowed. Now we come to your question.
Yeah, the soul put into the thing to punish the person in the hellfire. So if the person made a statue, are you saying the statue will come to life and punish him?
Correct.
Or anything he made?
Anything he made, it will come to life, except as long as it's got ruh. That's why the hadith is support to the scholars who are not like mujahid. Do you understand me? Yes. Right, this picture, this image, the children, they have them. I don't think adults will have them. This picture and image of an image, there's 2 things that they can do. The image itself, and who is that person who is so dear to the hearts? Who is it? Is it you dear him because they're Muslim, or is you dear him because a good footballer? I'm a Muslim, I don't put my image as well. You put him because there's something linked to him, isn't it? So, our children, unfortunately, we can't really help ourselves. That everything they look at it, they've got this thing. You could say the minimum of being misguided is to have football. Minimum misguidance. And I told, I don't know if I told you here, but there's 2 half of the Quran. Memorize the Quran, mashallah. 1 full and 1, he finished it later on, but it was about 1 chapter, not 1 juz. These 2, they're half in front of me. My students. Okay, you know the players of Brazil, or Real Madrid players? Okay, each one mentioned 1. So he started with 1, and the other ones to mention what? Another. I mean, want to see the winner. That's the demonstration for what's happening. Until they finish the 11 players. They got into the substitute now. Wallah, I'm not joking. So the substitute, one of them said, So the winner is the full hafiz, not the one we got. So the full hafiz he won. MashaAllah. His name is Uwais. Allahu Akbar. That's our children. Alhamdulillah, he's hafiz, but look, he's hafiz as well what? The players and I would say to that child who's this picture, you better have Muhammad in your heart than having this next to your heart. You know, putting this next to your heart. That's why they have the logo. You know, the logo. Where do they put it? On the heart. That means this is your God. This is the one you want to please the club. On the heart. So every time they go, if he's a liar, of course, he wants more money from the club, you start kissing it. True or not? Full of lies. I would say to that child, you want to bin it and tear it off. Muslim. We want to revert to Islam. We don't want it. Watching football, I wouldn't say it's haram. Okay? As long as these players are covering their awrah. But watching football in the way that the people watching football these days is haram. They watch it with what? Fanaticism. Subhanallah. Ikhlas. Wallah fi ikhlas. There's a brother who comes to the prayer. He does not miss it. MashaAllah jama'ah. But when there is a muqabala, say muqabala in Algerian. Muqabala. If there is a muqabala, as soon as he finishes the prayer, he lives in the masjid, by the way. He goes straight away. He doesn't talk to anybody. So Fajr there, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, but in this muqabala, this. And then, when he's watching it, all his heart is with the game. So he is talking to the game. What is this? You think, what is these people? Like jihad? And then one day they shouted so much when the goal had took place. Thought, oh God. That because they're close to the sister's side, the sisters, they thought that something had happened. They started knocking on the flat on that brother. Anything, brother, anything happened? You being robbed or something, being killed? Wallahi, I'm not joking. Wallah, this is reality. And I know the sisters, and I know who their husbands are, who convey me the story. And I know the person who is being shouting. Okay? It's a disease. Wallahi, it's a disease. So Shakur, I'm not going to say who's resolved to live in the children, but he will be convinced to tear it off in the bin, inshallah. Himself. It's better. Izak. Further.
Sure. So I've got a question. Is it okay if I record it?
He's being recorded here.
Basically, my question is, is it okay for somebody to join their prayers, but they're not a musafir? So they're, for example, sales executive. So they'll bring the asr close to the dhuhr because they may be dealing with a customer and they may not have time to pray asr. Is that permissible?
Now, when you said, first of all, that he's bringing the dhuhr close to the asr, did they push it outside its time, or they just at the end of its time?
No, they bring the asr close to dhuhr, so they'll pray 4 dhuhr.
Okay, so when you bring it close to dhuhr, did they put it in dhuhr or close to dhuhr?
They put the asr in dhuhr.
So put the question like this. So they put the asr in the dhuhr, not close to dhuhr.
No.
Because you think that the closeness is to the prayer. No, I'm talking about the time.
Yeah.
So these people, they are making their asr in the dhuhr time because of they are sale executive and they think and believe during the winter the time is not going to be enough for them to finish what they're doing. So they have to combine the prayer. I would say the following. First of all, you need to know that the combination of the prayer is allowed to the traveler, regardless of his situation, whether he is settling down when he's still a traveler, he arrived to the place he's traveling to, still could combine, or was it a traveling process? Whether he's ill or healthy is beside the point. Other than those, other than the traveler, then there is as well the ill person. The ill person, he's allowed to make this combination. If he's ill, to make the dhuhr to the asr, asr to the dhuhr, or maghrib into isha, isha into maghrib. The ones who are having persisting need, that need is so powerful that he cannot really accept the, do the maghrib into the isha, isha into the maghrib. So if this person does not take that as a habit, is no problem. I'll give you an example. From the persisting need is that this person who is in operation theater, that's 100% is acceptable. He knows the doctor is not going to come in, is not going to come out until 2 hours. 2 hours, Asr is gone with the winter. So he has to pray within the dhuhr and Asr before he enters, because he cannot do the Asr in its time. So that's no problem. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, even he says more than that. Rahimahullah. So for example, you have lots of guests and you are the one who's serving them. Okay? And you are in a persisting need, which you know of yourself, and you have your alibi with Allah Azza wa Jal, and you don't take it as a habit, there's no problem. Now this executive sales, what's happening? If he takes it as a habit, it's not allowed. But if it is one-off, because this is a very important thing, and it's a very strong need, he could do it, as I said, one-off. But to say, oh, I've got a salesman, tomorrow a salesman, then it becomes like a habit, and he cannot allow to do that. So it has to be very persistent. So for example, there's a transaction, if I pull out, the whole company is going to be affected, or my position as a worker is going to be as well jeopardized. Okay? Person in the exam. There's exam, isn't it? Let's say he's got an exam. Let's say he's got driving test. He cannot come out except when the Asr, no problem to combine at that time. There's no problem for the person making the test as well to combine. Okay, so he thinks there is haraj. Haraj means what? Like difficulty. Put him in a place where it's really blameworthy, embarrassing and all of that. Now,
What about, like, just thinking about toys before? Toys that are not real things, but they have eyes, or like, so
the toys can have anything, eyes and blue eyes and all of that,
so like
as long as they are representing creation of Allah Azza wa Jalla.
so it's like planes and they have eyes, like my little cousin has one.
Planes that got eyes?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm just saying. You have to have the creation of Allah. Is the plane with eyes creation of Allah? Not really. So, cartoon, as I said, like a cartoon. Cartoon, Sheikh Al-Bani called it shaytoon. Cartoon shaytoon. نعم. تفضل.
Is that allowed to use smiley faces on WhatsApp?
I don't use them at all, but I have seen shuyukh sending me messages, big scholars, and they're putting these things, and I'm not really happy with it, to tell you the truth. I've got big names. When they send me something, they're gonna, don't know. Okay, I know for a fact there are things which are allowed. Like for example, the eyes on their own. You know, there's eyes on their own. Like when they're looking up, that means he's laughing. Is that right? Like he's laughing. Eh? You see them or not? 2 eyes, just 2 eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no, just 2 eyes.
I think that means
Images.
they're watching you.
Huh?
That means they're watching you or something. Not they're laughing.
Well, this guy he sent him when he was laughing. I thought he was for smiling. True or not? Laughing. Eyes looking up. It's like, I don't know. There are lots of things now. There's a little monkey. Is that monkey with the one who's looking like this? Is a monkey? Is a monkey? It's like this, and I think they are, and especially these monkeys used by sisters. And the little monkeys being like this, I'm really embarrassed. Yeah, Sheikh, perverts, you don't know what's going in their hearts. One symbol like this, he thinks, oh, she's in love with me. So you have to be careful. Wallah, what's going into the hearts of these people. Now. Hang on a second. Fast. تفضل.
What about when it comes to editing images?
Like what? How?
So, making
Okay, right. This person is editing. Like for example, he took a photograph of you, and he made you, mashallah, 10 years younger. Allah. A'udhu billah. Once a person made me a picture, and he wanted to give it to me, and then the boy goes to the computer. He's doing something. So what are you doing? He's making me a makeup and making me, mashallah. No, creation of Allah, leave it like this. I don't want to make me young. It's like this. Okay. You know, some people, they think they look nice out there. You know, these operations, they go for the skin tightening, all of this. Look at them, he doesn't look normal, does he? There's something wrong with him. True or not? Wallahi. There's something wrong. It's pushed here and pulled here because it's not creation of Allah. Pulled here and like you pull like a sheet. Something wrong. Straight away you find it takes you time to adapt to his face. Looks ugly. A'udhu billah. Ya akhi, the creation of Allah subhanahu. Tajmeed hada. My nose is big, make it small. My nose small, make it big. My eyes small, make it big. You know, in Iran, you find most of the women, they walk in with like a bandage on top of their noses. They had an operation for making their small, goat noses like very small, pointed in. Okay, and in China, in Japan, I think, or China, they make it what? Eyes bigger. The common. They're not satisfied because they look at the Western. Subhanallah. Why? Allah created you like this. You are beautiful creation of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Right. Last questions. Fadal. Your question.
You said if a person has an exam, they can miss a salah or they can combine.
Not miss, combine.
What about Salat al-Jum'ah? Often you find here, this is the case.
Salat al-Jum'ah, akhi, barakallahu fik. How can we combine it? I cannot make Jum'ah with Asr. I can make Asr. Do you understand? It's a Jum'ah. The Jum'ah is a Jum'ah. The Jum'ah is not compulsory on the traveler. It's not compulsory on the sick person. It's not compulsory on the person in war. It's not compulsory on the person who is helping the sick person. He has to be with him. It's not compulsory upon him. Apart from that, every person who is resident, a male, an adult, and free from all types of excuses, okay, then he has to come to the Jumu'ah. But if there's a beast on the road, don't go. There's an enemy on the road, don't go. That's a good excuse. So they have to go to the Jumu'ah. Now, that one who is in the class or in the school, they could make their own Jumu'ah. It doesn't have to be the Jumu'ah in the masjid. Jumu'ah is the gathering. So in the school, we tell the children, we train them as well to make khutbah. So they go make khutbah, and then mashallah, the children come, mashallah. They start with none, and then one, and mashallah. Great groups, lots of people. MashaAllah, now you go to the ISOCs and all of that. MashaAllah. And then they started competing. Who's going to make the khutbah? And then, not competing, enmity. Brailwis or Ahl Hadith. Do you understand? You're going to take over. Allah al-Musta'an. طيب, last question for that. Yeah, Puma. Puma has got no image for the head. It's just drawing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's been humiliated as well. You take it in the boots and all of that, yes? Yeah, if it's got no image, no eyes, no problem. If it's got eyes, no, it's a problem. Khalas.
So it's okay if it has the shape, but it just doesn't have the distinguished figures.
No problem. We said that before. Subhanakallah bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.